Since Israel's conflict with Iran escalated, tensions have reached a boiling point in the occupied West Bank, where settlers have been emboldened to carry out violent attacks against Palestinians. The surge in settler violence has left many fearing for their safety and livelihoods, as Palestinian communities struggle to maintain control over their lands and resources. Background information suggests that decades of Israeli occupation have created an environment ripe for escalation, with settlers often receiving tacit support from Israeli authorities. This latest development raises concerns about the potential for further instability in the region. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how the international community will respond to this crisis, and whether efforts can be made to de-escalate tensions and promote a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Protesters gathered across the United States, converging on cities like Minneapolis and New York City for a nationwide rally against former President Donald Trump. The event, organized under the banner No Kings, aimed to highlight concerns about authoritarianism and the erosion of democratic values. The protests drew attention from prominent figures such as singer Bruce Springsteen, who performed in front of large crowds in Minnesota. This move underscored the significance of the event, showcasing the willingness of influential voices to support the cause. The No Kings movement has gained momentum since its inception, with many participants expressing frustration over Trump's actions and rhetoric. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how this nationwide protest will impact public discourse on these issues. But one thing is clear: the voices of dissent are growing louder, and Americans are increasingly demanding accountability from their leaders. The ongoing war in Yemen has entered its second month, with tensions escalating between Iran and its regional adversaries. In a recent statement, the Houthi rebels have vowed to launch more attacks on Israel, citing fears that the conflict will spiral out of control and draw in other nations. The Houthis' decision to open a new front against Israel is seen as a response to increased pressure from Iran's arch-rival, Saudi Arabia. The conflict has already resulted in thousands of civilian casualties and widespread destruction, with many fearing a catastrophic escalation. As the situation continues to deteriorate, international powers are scrambling to find a solution. Looking ahead, the world will be watching closely for any signs of escalation or de-escalation in this volatile region, as the consequences of further conflict could have far-reaching implications for global stability and security. The US-Iran conflict has been ongoing for 1 month, with President Trump's leadership style being heavily criticized. Trump's decision to withdraw from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and reimpose sanctions on Iran was made without a clear strategy or diplomatic engagement. The lack of a coordinated response has led to increased tensions, with both sides engaging in a series of escalatory actions. The conflict has resulted in the loss of an Iranian military commander, which Trump hailed as a success, but analysts argue that this move has only heightened tensions and emboldened Iran's hardline factions. The U.S. military has also been deployed to the region, with troops stationed near key infrastructure. Despite the deployment, the conflict remains unresolved, with both sides dug in. Looking ahead, it is clear that Trump's instinct-driven approach is not yielding the desired results, and a more nuanced strategy will be needed to resolve the crisis peacefully. The international community is watching closely to see how the U.S. will adapt its approach and whether it can find common ground with Iran. Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, is set to face trial in connection with allegations of sexual harassment. The trial has raised questions over Jeffries' fitness for trial due to concerns about his mental health, specifically dementia and late-onset Alzheimer's disease. In a surprising twist, recordings of phone calls between Jeffries and his lawyers have surfaced, which they claim demonstrate his deteriorating mental state. According to the recordings, Jeffries' lawyers argue that he is no longer fit to stand trial due to his condition. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how this will impact the trial proceedings and what evidence will be presented in court to support or challenge Jeffries' fitness for trial. Tensions between the United States and Iran escalated further yesterday, as Tehran warned American universities and Israeli institutions to expect retaliation. In response, anti-war protesters took to the streets in cities across the U.S., including Tel Aviv, where thousands gathered to voice their opposition to the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, in Iran's Bushehr province, a family of 4 lost their life after being targeted by missile attacks attributed to Houthi rebels from Yemen. This escalation has raised concerns about the potential for further violence and its impact on regional stability. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how these tensions will play out. But one thing is clear: the situation in the Middle East continues to be highly volatile, with multiple parties involved and competing interests at stake. As the situation unfolds, it's essential to monitor developments closely and consider the potential implications for global security and regional stability.